I find it interesting that there are a lot of common phrases that native Spanish speakers use that are not taught to us, those of us that are learning Spanish. There's so many phrases that are just super common. You hear them often, but no one ever teaches you these phrases, and they're not even slang. Sorry for that mental delay. That's what came to my mind. Like, they're not even slang words, but they're still not taught, they're not slang phrases, but they're still not taught. And so in this video, I wanted to bring you all 5 common phrases, common sayings, common terms that you will hear from native Spanish speakers that you probably have heard, that are very important to know, okay, because you're going to hear them a lot. I also wanted to say that I know that many of you have asked, like, Michael, why don't you do lessons on your channel? Why don't you give Spanish lessons? On my channel in particular. Eventually I may do Spanish lessons, I apologize, but right now I don't do videos like this often on my channel because there's a diverse audience here. Not everyone is a beginner, and so a video of me explaining what's the difference between ser and estar would be pointless for a large majority of the audience. So that's one reason why I don't do that. And the second reason why is because I don't like to teach you all things or show you something. I wouldn't want to show you something that you can easily find on another channel or through a book. Like, I don't think that's providing you all with value. I think the unique value here is that I'm presenting you all with unique information. So I just wanted to add that before I get into the first thing. Let's go ahead and start the first Spanish phrase, Spanish verb, Spanish saying that I think is very important for you to know is, sorry about that, I got distracted for a second. The first Spanish phrase that I think it's important for you to know is, it involves the word tocar, okay? If you don't know what the word tocar means to touch. Literally, it means to touch, like this, okay? But what you will often hear Spanish speakers say, and you'll even hear me say this, is they say, me toca, it touches me. That's what it literally translates into, but I'm gonna tell you what that means in a second. But they'll say, me toca ir a la oficina, me toca irme, me toca cambiarme el pelo, me toca. They'll just say, it touches me to do something. It touches me to change my hair. It touches me to leave. It touches me to do this. And what this is a unique way of saying, I have to, okay? Like, I have to go. I have to change my hair. I have to fix the house. I have to move. I have to do this. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, Michael, I thought there was already a verb for this, tener que. Tener que, yo tengo que, I have to, which is right. That also translates into I have to. But the thing with tocar, or me toca, or te toca, or le toca, is from what I can glean from as an outsider, right? And translating this to you all from our from our native English speaker mind, from that perspective, is it's essentially like I'm obligated to, like I'm almost forced to, like it's an obligation that I have to. It's kind of like their shoulders are up, saying like, pues me toca, o sea, me toca ir. Like, I have to go. Like, not like I have to go, like I need to get something done. It's kind of like a, pues me toca. It's like the obligation is kind of falling on you, and it's not your intention almost, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. I'm gonna watch this back and see if I need to add more to that explanation, but I hope that made sense. Me toca. So again, I can say, let me explain this before I go back and read this. I can say, pues me toca cambiar el trabajo. Me toca cambiar el trabajo. Like, I'm kind of forced to change the job. I'm forced to change it. Me toca. Not like I have to. Sorry. Not like I have to. Like, not like I have to, like, on my own, for my own desires. It's como me toca. It touches me. Like, I have to. So I rewatched my explanation there, and I think it was okay. What I'd also like to add, though, is obviously this verb tocar doesn't always have to apply to yourself. If it's applying to yourself, you would say me toca. Okay, I'll give you a perfect example. Let's say I want to describe, let's say I have to travel. I don't want to travel, right? Because if I say, well, I have to travel to Panama, right? I can be saying, well, I have to, like I want to. It can also, me saying I have to could represent my own desires. But if I say, pues me toca, I'm pretty much saying there's some kind of external force that's pushing me to this trip to Panama, okay? And so I'll give you a perfect example. Me toca ir a Panama para mi trabajo. Tengo un nuevo puesto. I'm gonna say that again. Me toca ir a Panama por mi, no sé, I can't remember what I said, but I'll give you another example. Sorry guys, this video is everywhere. Again, me toca ir a Panamá porque tengo otro trabajo. Tengo otro puesto, okay? I'm forced, I'm obligated. Not even that I want to, not like I have to, because if I have to, it could be based on my own thing, my own desire. But me toca ir a Panamá porque tengo nuevo trabajo. I'm kind of pushed, I'm kind of forced. I have to go to Panama because of this new job, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. And again, I wanted to add here, it does not have to only apply to yourself. I can say, sorry, my examples are not coming as well as they normally do. Te toca cortar el patio. Te toca cortar el patio. Do you have to cut the grass? But a lot of times when we have to cut the grass, it's not something that we desire. It's an obligation because of the circumstances. So I can ask you, te toca cortar el patio? Literally that translates to, does it touch you to cut the grass? But that's me asking you, do you have to cut the grass? Are you kind of forced to cut the grass? Me toca, te toca, le toca, nos toca. Hopefully you all understand that. Again, I'm not a big fan of doing videos like this because I'm not always sure if my explanations are coming out as well as they would if I was one-on-one helping someone, but hopefully that makes sense. Tocar, me toca. I'm repeating myself. All right, that's enough of that first example. Okay, I have a feeling this next example is going to be pretty tough for me to explain, so stay with me here, okay? If you, depending on your Spanish level, you understand that I can say this, okay? No se puede ir por allí. No se puede ir por allí. I'm going to put that on the screen and I'm going to explain what that means. No se puede ir por allí. What that means is when you use the verb, when you use the word se in front of a verb conjugated that way, and again, I can't give you all the explanation for this. You have to have a certain level of Spanish to understand this, guys. I can't make every video beginner or advanced friendly, okay? But those of you that know, if I say se puede, no se puede ir allí, I'm using the word you in a general sense. Like, you can't go over there. No se puede ir allí. You can't go over there. And I'm not talking to you in particular. I'm saying you as a general term. Like, one cannot go over there. No se puede ir por allí. That's one use of that word se. The ever so confusing yet powerful word se. Another use of this that I did not learn until about 2 to 3 months ago. I can't say that. It was a little while ago, maybe 6 months ago. But that is super common is you can say something like this, okay? Let's say I was cooking some rice and I went upstairs, okay? Let's say I was cooking some rice and I went upstairs and I was not paying attention to the rice. I can say this, follow me now. Se me quemó el arroz. I'm gonna say that one more time. Se me quemó el arroz. And what that translates into, and I'm gonna explain what happened there, is the rice burned on me. I didn't just say the rice burned because I put the word me in there, okay? I said, se me quemó el arroz. The rice burned itself on me, okay? And so what happens here is if you are pretty much saying that an object, it can be really anything, but I'll use an object in this case, an object did something relative to you, but that was not intentional, or like it did. How we say this in English is, I'm better with giving examples. We say this, the way we say this in English would be this: the rice burned on me. When I say that, I'm kind of not putting the responsibility on myself. I'm not saying I burned the rice. I'm saying like, man, that rice burned on me. Can you believe that the rice burned on me? Not literally on me, but you all get my point. Or you can say the keys fell from me. Like, it's not that you said I dropped my keys. Notice the difference. You didn't say I dropped my keys. You said my keys fell from me. Like, they fell from me. And so what happens is that you can do the same thing in Spanish using the word se in the beginning, put yourself after that, me, and then whatever happened using the verb. So again, I'll use that first example. Se me quemó el arroz. The rice, el arroz, burned itself, and then you put me in there to represent that it did it to you. It's weird. It's like the object is doing something to you, but it's a way of kind of taking the blame off of yourself and saying, that rice burned on me. I'll give you another example. The verb for fall is caerse. And let's say I'm saying, yeah, my keys fell from me. Let's say I lost my keys, but for some reason in the way that I'm speaking in this instance, I'm not taking full responsibility. So I can say, yeah, I lost my keys. They fell from me somehow. They fell from me. I really dropped the keys, or they fell out of my pocket, but you get my point. They fell from me. And so again, they fell from me. So you can say, again, if the verb is caerse, we put the letter, what is se? Is it a verb? I don't know. It's not, but we put the word se in front. We put yourself after that to say that the object did that to you, and then you put the verb, okay? And so if the verb for fall is caerse, okay, you can say, se me cayeron las llaves, okay? The keys fell from me. So that is something you're gonna hear Spanish speakers say a lot. You're gonna be like, why are they putting se in that phrase? Why not just say, for example, that first example, why not just say, el arroz quemó, se quemó? Why are they putting me when they're talking about rice? That doesn't even make sense. It really doesn't make sense if you think about it. Why would you be talking about yourself if you're saying the rice burned? Well, when they do that, they're saying, the rice burned on me. Can you believe that? The rice burned on me. The keys fell from me. Can you believe that? Okay? Does that make sense? All right, hopefully that makes sense. That use of se to represent something that accidentally happened, or to represent something that happened that you don't have full responsibility for. It's when an object gets the blame for something happening. Okay, I don't know if that makes sense, but hopefully it does. We'll see when this video comes out. Those first two were heavy hitters. These next three are a little smaller. They're not as long. The explanations won't be as long. The third common phrase, word, saying that you will hear from native Spanish speakers is the word este. Now, este means this. Este papel, this paper. Este hombre, this man. Este parque, this park. But most of you already know this, but a lot of times, if you don't know it, here it is. Spanish speakers use este as a filler word. So when they're thinking, instead of saying, I think, I'm not sure, they don't do that. They'll go, este, boom, and then they'll say whatever they were pondering, okay? So that's the third thing that is not taught a lot of times. You'd hear, I remember hearing este and thinking that they were saying this. When they're not, they're using that as a filler word. The other secondary piece that I like to add with this third one is the word o sea, or that's not a word, the phrase o sea. O-S-E-A, 2 words. O is the first one, and then sea. What that means, no pun intended, is it means, I mean, and so here's an example. Again, o sea means, I mean, so I can say, think about this in English. We used to go there, I mean, kind of, follow me. Or he used to say that. I mean, not really, but notice how I'm using I mean there? That and o sea, switch them in both languages, and you got it, okay? The reason I wanted to add these here is because these make your Spanish sound so much more natural, so much more native-like. I even need to get out of the habit of going, because they don't even do that. They go, este. And so I'm even working on that right now. But that is something that I had no awareness of. I was not privy to initially. And I used to always think, why are they saying that? What does o sea mean? I don't know what this means, okay? Or este. So hopefully that helps. That's the third phrase, saying, whatever, that I think will be beneficial for you to know. And unfortunately, it's not taught to us directly through traditional resources. The fourth phrase this is also a point that has 2 in 1 because they kind of have the same meanings. But the fourth phrase saying that I think is very important for you to understand is something like this. Ay, Michael, te quiero mucho. Te quiero mucho. If you know your Spanish verbs, that literally translates into I want you a lot. But that is not what that means in this context, okay? Te quiero mucho. Te quiero mucho. I want you a lot. But what that really means is I like you or I love you. Now, you all might be thinking, what? What do you mean? Why is that super important? That's super important because in English, if I say I like you, you automatically go to a romantic situation. Like that's the first thing that you think about. Or you like me in a romantic way. Even if I say I love you, you automatically look at that in a romantic way, okay? In Spanish, when you say te quiero, That is not the same. It can be, or it cannot be. I'll give you a perfect example. Okay. Most people that are mature and understand this and understand the nuance of the English language would understand this. And I apologize if the rain is getting super loud. But let's say I have a guy friend and I'm like, man, I like you, man. Like, I like you. Okay. What that, if you understand in that context, I'm not saying I genuinely like the guy romantically. I'm pretty much saying like he's a good person. I like to be around him. Like he's cool. He's cool. He's a cool person. Like he's cool people. Like I like you, man. I like you. Okay. That is how you can translate te quiero. Okay. Again, depending on the situation, it can be, yes, I really like you, or it can just be the simple example that I gave you there of I like you, like I like you, you're cool, like I like you, okay? The other point that I want to make here, I'm not sure if I explained that well, but just be prepared to hear te quiero, como te quiero, I like you, okay? Again, that can be romantic or it could not be. I want to give you some example. Mi mamá no. Because obviously a mother would love their children, but exactly, that can work. Mi mamá nos quiere. My mom loves us, she likes us. Mi mamá nos quiere. But again, that is not a romantic situation. Because think about it, in English, we don't really say that our parents like the kids, unless we're talking about their personal taste in terms of your behavior or something like that. We don't speak that way, but they do in Spanish. Te quiero, nos quiere. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. The other point I wanted to make here is something that they never teach for some reason, but it's very common. And it's, if I tell you, si te digo, if I tell you, pues, sabes, no, me caes muy bien. Tú me caes muy bien. Okay? And again, I'll have that written there. What that literally translates into, me caes, that literally caerse, I remember, caer means to fall. So I'm literally telling you that you fall bien, you fall well on me. All right, I'm pretty much telling you you fall well on me. That's weird. That's a weird saying, right? Me caes muy bien, me caes muy bien. That is another way that native Spanish speakers say, I like you, man. Like you're a cool guy. Like I like you, you're cool, man. I appreciate you. I like you. Again, it can be in a somewhat romantic sense, and this is why you have to spend time with the language to know when this is happening, sorry. Or it can be, again, always distractions. A bee is literally trying to attack my arm right now. But it can be a romantic thing or it could not be, okay? There's nuance here. But me caes bien. He, me cae muy bien. He falls really well on me. I like him. Ustedes me caen muy bien. You all fall well on me. I like you all, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Again, I'm super distracted today as always, I feel like. I can never get a video just in peace. We got bugs attacking my arms. It was not raining, now it's raining. So hopefully that point made sense and I didn't go overboard with explaining that. Let's go to the last point. So I feel like this video is super long, so I'm gonna go through this last phrase. I don't even know if this is a phrase, this last piece here, very quickly. But the last thing that you need to get accustomed to hearing that they don't teach us is putting ito or ita at the end of words. Now, what is ito y ita? I'll give you some examples. I can say, él es esa mami. No, I don't want to use that. I don't want to use that. That can mean something different. Sorry guys, give me a second. Oh no, I have it. Esa casita. Okay, casita. I'm saying the word casa, house, but I'm putting ita at the end. What that really does is it's a way to make something sound a little cute or make something sound smaller, okay? And so here's a perfect example. Let's say I want to talk about a puppy. I can say, the word for dog is perro, but if I want to talk about a little cute dog, a little cute small dog, I would say perrito. All I'm doing is putting I-T-O at the end. Anytime you do that, I'm pretty much making whatever I'm describing sound softer, sound nicer, sound like more loving. Same thing can happen if I'm describing an older family member, right? I could say, to call someone old is to say, sorry, viejo. So you can say mi viejo, like my older family member. They use that phrase, mi viejo, my older family member. But viejo, it's kind of strong to call someone old. You're kind of calling someone an old man. And so what you can say is, mi viejito. You notice how they just put ito at the end and it makes me smile because they say it so smooth and so cool. It's like, oh man, that's so nice that you're not calling him a viejo, no, you're putting viejito, a little cute old man, right? Or this applies to, okay, I'll give you a perfect example that happened to me, and I wanted to explain this because there have been many times where I'm like, I've never heard that word. I've never heard this word. Somebody can be saying something to me, and I'm like, I've never heard that word, but it's a lie. I had heard that word. The problem was the person that I was speaking with added ito or ita at the end, and so my brain had not recognized that word because of the ending there. I remember in Peru, my friend Sophia was like, Michael, pásame la salsita. No. Sí, la salsita. 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 Yeah, I think she said that, right? And I was like, salsita? What is that, salsita? And I think I'm saying this right. Sophia, if you're watching, correct me. But she was like, pásame la salsita. And I was like, what is salsita? La salsa. She was like, la salsa. I was like, oh, how dumb am I? She was just saying the sauce, la salsa, the sauce, but she was putting ita at the end, okay? You'll hear this often also. I'm gonna pause for a second and get my thoughts together. I'll give you some more examples. Sorry, guys. Another example, the paws or hands of animals, they call them patos. Las patas, sorry, patas, las patitas, las patas. Let me make sure, patas. See. Yeah. So I forget. Look, I forget Spanish sometimes as well. But patas, they call them patas. Las patas del perro, like the little paws of the dog. But you'll often hear. Pues, I'll give you a perfect example. You'll hear somebody say, pues me manchó mi perrito con sus patitas. Sorry, I don't speak that way. I had a Mexican guy tell me one time, like, hey man, stop doing that. Like, stop. It's excessive. This video is all over the place. But he's like, that's excessive. You don't have to do that. So I don't do it as much. So I'm not used to doing that. But you can say that. Pues me manchó, mi perrito me manchó con sus patitas. So again, just notice that they're gonna put ita and ito at the end of a lot of words to make them smaller, to make them cuter, to make them más bonito. Okay, las palabras más bonitas. All right, hopefully that makes sense. I wanted to add one more example here because this is stuff that you will hear, I'm being honest, especially if you travel. I know in Mexico, and this is not, I've had to even learn and like take myself out of the cultural context that I'm used to here in the United States. And I know in Latin America, and I'll use Mexico as a perfect example, they describe people based on their physical characteristics. So if someone's walking down the street, ay, gordito. Gordo means a fat or bigger person, but they put ito at the end just to tell the person like, hey, I'm not insulting you, I'm just calling you by your physical characteristics. Okay, again, I'll give you another example. This is not me, it's just culture, guys. We can't really, freak out over it. In Mexico, they have a word for lighter skinned people or white people, and it's güero. But I think, and I could be wrong, I think they understand that sometimes here in the United States, we're not accustomed to being called by our skin color. So I've seen a lot of videos where maybe like a blonde-haired guy will be walking through a market in Mexico, and they'll say, güerito. This happens to black people as well. Negrita. Because again, I think they're aware, like describing someone by their physical characteristics can be, depending on the person, can make them feel a certain way. So they put the little ita at the end to try to signal like, hey, I'm saying it in a loving way. A part of our culture is to describe people physically, but I'm saying it in a loving way, not una manera despectativa, like a negative way. So hopefully that makes sense. I always try to make these videos as jam-packed with information, but as short as possible because I respect you all's time. Hopefully these 5 phrases, common sayings, things, hopefully these have been helpful for you. And if you come across these things, hopefully now you'll be able to understand them a lot better. I really appreciate you all watching the video. I need to slow down. Y que les vaya muy bien. Ciao.